Check, mic, yeah, it's all working. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to another live stream. Um, I had some issues before the live stream. I was gonna stream at 8 p.m. like usual, and one of my hard drives decided to not show up on my PC. And that was actually the hard drive that contains all of my streaming graphics, so all my streaming graphics would not load and I just could not stream. So I've been trying to get the hard drive back for about the last hour. It's finally back, and it should all be working fine now. Now, today we're gonna do an extra long feedback session. I don't feel like making music, and I have a good reason for that. I haven't made music in the last week. I've not worked on the EP. I've not made any music. I haven't opened Ableton Live in more than a week. I opened Ableton Live today just to try out some stuff, and I was just so uninspired that I just felt like, you know what? We're not gonna do any music production today. I actually wanted to do a City Skyline stream because I've been playing that game for the last week or so. Reason is, last Saturday, the day after I did the last stream, I was skateboarding, and it was all going really good. And I was learning some new tricks, and I had skated for about, I don't know, 4 hours maybe, and nah, maybe 3 hours. I think I was 4 hours at the skate park total. And after about 3 hours, some mother comes to the skate park with a bunch of little kids, and instead of just going there to teach the kids how to skate or do something like that, she just came to the skate park, let her children just run loose, and she was just sitting on a bench, completely looking into her phone all the time, not looking at the kids whatsoever. So I was already getting a little bit annoyed because the kids were all the time, they were in the way, they were climbing on the ramps, stuff like that. I see one of the kids is like 4 or 5 years old, and he had like, I think he had fallen off of a ramp almost 3 times, and the mother did not see it. So I was getting a bit annoyed, but what can you do? I'm not gonna shout at the kid or anything like that. And I don't really wanna pick a fight with the mother either. So I'm just gonna wait until the kids move out of the way, and then I'll go skate. Or I'll just go skate at a different part of the skate park. And I'm just skating. I'm just skating this ledge. I'm just doing some grinds on the ledge, just practicing some grinds. And I actually had my 50/50s and my 5/0s and my frontside Smiths back. And I want to do one final trick. I want to try a frontside tilt slide. I have not done that trick in like 8 years or so. So I'm running up to the ledge, and right when I want to pop onto the ledge, that youngest child just jumps in front of me, and well, out of instinct, I jumped the other way. I kind of tried to dodge the kid because if it's a kid of almost 4 or 5 years old, so when I jump, it's pretty easy to hit the kid's head with my knee, right? So I decided to dodge the kid, and when I did that, I fully rolled my ankle really badly, and I've pretty much been sitting with a swollen ankle ever since, and yeah, that's why I've not really felt like making music, and I guess that's also why I'm a little bit uninspired right now. The ankle is getting better though. I've been walking on crutches for the first 2 days or so. After that, I was able to walk without, but it was still pretty bad. It was still not really easily. I was still having pain when I walked or riding my bike or anything like that. Today I worked again for the first day, so I went to work today, and that actually went pretty alright. So it's getting better again. But yeah, it was really infuriating. I was really mad at the mother because first of all, she was not looking at her kids all the time, and at one moment when I almost hit her kid, she looks at her kid, right? And of course, she comes at me and she's like, "Oh, you gotta watch out for my kid. You almost hit him. He could have been hurt pretty badly." And I'm looking at her and I'm like, "What are you saying? I am the one who's hurt pretty badly right now." So What are you even talking about? I mean, like, you're not even watching your kid. You should not even let your kids run loose in a fucking skate park, right? So, it was a whole ordeal, and after that, I just left. I was just like, I'm not even gonna bother, you know? This mother is just not gonna understand that it's not really that, it's not really the bigger problem. It's not really that I get annoyed with the kids being in the way all the time. That's not even the biggest problem. The problem is the safety of those kids, right? You're not gonna go and let those kids run loose in a skate park where people are trying to skate. And especially not when you're just not even gonna bother watching them. So yeah, that's just what happened in the last week, and I figured out let's just do a big feedback session today, and forget about making music for today because that's just probably not gonna work. It's not gonna be good to force things, and it's probably not gonna end up in too much interesting stuff. So I figured, let's just do a longer feedback session, and I think you guys might actually like that. So you can send me your tracks. Send me your tracks to the usual email address. The email address is below the stream. Please don't send me any remixes or mashups or anything that contains like an acapella layered on top of it. Anything that might get me into copyright issues. Please don't send me that because I'll have to edit the stream afterwards and edit the part of your track out, which is a whole it's a big hassle. I don't want to do that. So just send me original tracks, and I'll be happy to review them. So the email address is below the stream. You can scroll down, and you'll see the email address there. It's feedback@artifacts-studios.com. Just send me your tracks, and I'll start doing the first one that comes in. So I'll be doing the track reviews in chronological order, so the order how I receive them in my email box. I don't want to pick at random, I don't want to do a raffle or anything like that. I'm just going to go and pick the one that is the first up in the list in my emails. And if you want to have your track reviewed, and you don't want to wait until you are the one that's going to be reviewed, then you can always make a donation and let me know which track is yours, what is your artist name, or anything like that, so that I know which track is the one that you sent me, and then I'll let you skip the waiting list. And that's just how we do it here, how we do it out here. So let's start sending me some tracks, and we'll get to it. So let me refresh this. Okay, we already have 2 tracks, so we can get started right away. Like I said, I've been playing City Skylines for the last week, so bear with me, guys. I haven't really bothered doing anything music-wise. I wanted to do the UVI Falcon tutorials starting this week, but yeah, I'm not gonna sit here making tutorials when I have an ankle that's so swollen that I can't even do anything properly. So those tutorials will come later. Donations aren't showing. Okay. Let me see. Ah, wait. Wait, I know. We are still in the wrong scene. Let me switch over to the feedback stream. And I think it should show right now. So let me do a...
See, I'm
it does
a
work.
playboy.
Great one, mate. Welcome, medic. Welcome back. I've missed you for a while, man. You were not here in the last 2 weeks, I think, but it's all fine. Welcome back. So let me open up the first track. We're gonna start things off with some neurofunk. I can see that already. What is that link? What is the website we.tl? I've never heard of that before, and I'm pretty reluctant on clicking this link right now. we.tl. Is that like a music file sharing site? I'm not sure. I've never heard of that before. we.tl. Oh, that's WeTransfer. Okay. Could you please upload your track to SoundCloud or to Clip or even Dropbox would be cool, because then I can just stream it. I don't think I can stream a track from WeTransfer. Let's see. Yeah. Just send me your track so that I can actually stream it, you know? Yeah, I know now. I know now. I've seen that it's WeTransfer. I've used WeTransfer before. I've just never seen the short link of it. So, but just send me your track in on SoundCloud or anything like that, because otherwise it's just I'm not gonna sit here and download files all the time. Don't really want to do that right now. I always do it with SoundCloud. SoundCloud is the best because it's just it fits the live stream graphics and stuff. But Cliphead is fine, Insta Audio, even Dropbox is fine, because on Dropbox you can actually play it right away. So, but just send it to me, and as soon as I'll see your track coming in, I'll do your track next. So we're gonna skip your track for now, and I'll go to the next one. So, let me grab something to drink. Time to get going. So, here we go, the first track by Kurdil. Yeah, I was gonna say this needs some vocals. Okay. Good first track to start the stream off with. There's a couple of things we could say about this track. It starts off with a really tropical, housey kind of vibe, which it kind of continues throughout the track. It's not really a style I listen to a lot. It's not really a style I'm, well, a fan of, anything like that. But I'll try and give you some feedback. So, the first thing what jumped to mind for me at least was it needs some vocals. But clearly you are already on that, so that's a good thing. I agree with you on some of the transitions. Some of these transitions sound a little awkward, but that could be fixed with a vocal in that spot. See, that one, for instance, it sounds very empty. It sounds very like a very basic, generic transition. Now, when you add a vocal there, that would be kind of better, I guess. But it's still gonna be a generic transition, right? So, what I would do is I would probably try and make that transition, that whoosh kind of sound, that I guess it's just some filtered white noise. I would try and make that a little bit more interesting, and that goes for a lot of the transitions in your track. See, the thing what I get with this particular genre is a lot of times I feel that the genre itself sounds pretty generic. There's still gonna be good tracks within the genre, but a lot of the releases in this particular style are not really something I think is very special. So I think if you want to get to that point where your tracks is one of the better ones, or one of, well, maybe not one of the better ones, but one of the, let's say your track's gonna be one of the tracks in the genre that is, well, on the better side, then I think you should put a little bit more effort into some of the elements in your track, and mostly in the transitions right now. I feel like most of your transition sounds are just filtered white noise, and that is kind of fine, you know. In house music you hear that a lot, but those transitions get boring pretty quickly, and they're so widely used that personally, I at least almost never use them. When I make whooshes or rises or anything like that, I try and use any type of noise I can find, which could be ambient sound or could be some Foley sound, could be some noise actually that I recorded somewhere. You could be a field recording that you've recorded, I don't know, somewhere on a train station or anything weird pretty much. I just try and pick any type of noise except of white noise, because white noise is the one that's been so overly used that it kind of sounds generic to me. So, yes, if you add vocals to the transition, it will make it better. But I still think I would like to put some more work in the transitions themselves. See, like, the thing is right now, anything in the track right now that sounds either awkward or a little basic, just to give it a name, that is still gonna be like that if you add vocals. It will maybe make it better, but it's still gonna be like that. So, what I think is gonna be the best thing is try and make this track sound as good as possible without vocals, so that it's pretty much a good track to listen to when it has no vocals on them. And then when you add the vocals, that's just gonna lift it up to that next level. That's just gonna finish the whole thing. But yeah, I think those transitions need a little work. Now, other than that, one thing I noticed as well, pretty much throughout the entire track, but especially in these sections here in the intro and here the breakdown, is that the piano and the synths are pretty loud compared to the drums. So when I make a track, and it doesn't really matter what genre it is, this pretty much
counts for any genre I've made in my life. And I made a lot, you know. I started with hip hop. I started with gabber actually. Then made hip hop, done electro house, dubstep, glitch hop, drum and bass. Done so many kinds of genres. And one thing I pretty much always notice is that the drums are usually the loudest element in the mix, and sometimes together with the bass. The bass and the drums are usually going to be the two louder elements in the mix, and all the other elements are usually going to be quieter than the drums and the bass. So the synths will probably be just a little quieter. All the effect sounds are probably going to be a lot quieter, so that they're more in the background. Same for like atmospheric sounds and stuff like that. And I feel right now it sounds as if the synths and the piano are louder than the drums. Might be me, maybe it's not the case. Maybe the drums are in fact louder, but if that's the case, then I would try and adding, well, some subtle distortion or some subtle saturation to the drums to make those get a higher perceived loudness. See, something can be louder than another sound, but still sound quieter. And that has to do with the how many frequencies, how many harmonic content it has. So you can actually create additional harmonics if it lacks some by adding saturation. So adding a bit of saturation to the drums could help make them sound louder than the synths and the piano, without actually changing the volume too much of the drums. So that's something I would try out at least. Or, and that's of course something you can always do, is just simply bring down the piano. Thanks Van Liddy for the follow. But you can always just bring down the piano and the synths a little bit. That could also work. It's up to you. Just see what works and try it out. But that's something that I noticed. See here, those piano chords are pretty loud. They sound louder than most of the other things, so... especially if you compare it to that snap percussion sound in the background. And here those cymbal hi-hat thingies come in, which sound pretty loud again, so... it just sounds, to me, right now, if I listen back to it, it just sounds like your drums need a little bit of leveling. I think you need to work a bit on the levels of the drums. Make the kick drum a bit louder, make the piano a little quieter maybe. Not too much, but just a little. And the same goes for those transition sounds, actually, because those transition sounds are pretty loud. That noise is pretty loud. Could probably be a little quieter. But yeah, that's just something I would try and look at. What is going on in the chat? Let's see. I have this beat I made today and the idea is there, but it still feels empty and I just can't get the mixing on point. Where do I send tracks and is Pico Song link okay? I've never heard of Pico Song. I've never even heard of that. Pico Song. What is that? Well, I guess that's a place where you can stream? I don't know. Looks like a little dodgy website if you ask me. Could you just upload it to SoundCloud or anything like that? You know? SoundCloud, ClipHit, any one of the bigger ones. So, I guess that's it for this track though. I don't really think I can say too much more about it. You definitely have that tropical kind of vibe going, which is, I get that's what you're going for, because I can see your little tropical, tropical artwork here, which is actually your artwork of your SoundCloud profile. Do you make a lot of these kind of things? Future house. Okay. Cool.
Now, please upload your track somewhere so I can just stream it. I don't want to go and download files all the time. That's just going to be annoying. Also, Venlity, please read below the stream. There's a little piece of text that lets you know what you need to do. You need to send me your track in an email. Send me the link in an email, and then you'll be added in. You'll be added to the waiting list pretty much. I do all the track reviews in the order that they come in my email box, except when somebody makes a donation, and then I'll let them skip the waiting list, and that's how we do things. So please send me your track in an email, and I'll do it. I'll give you some feedback. So I'm not sure how many tracks we're gonna get today. We don't have too much yet, so you might be lucky. If you send your track now, if you upload it now and you send it to me, you might be lucky and you might actually be the 4th track that we're gonna do from now on. So, next one up though is going to be a Neurofunk track, judging from the title, by Zvaya Productions. I hope I pronounced that right. Zvaya. Where are you from? Let's see. Where are you from? Portugal. Another European out there. Nice. Actually, Portugal. Didn't I forgot who it was, but didn't somebody surf the biggest ever wave a couple of weeks ago there? It was like... There was like... I don't know. I saw a video somewhere earlier this week. It was a video of about 3 weeks old. Of somebody who had surfed yet again another huge wave at Nazaré in Portugal. So... I think it was about a little while ago. But it was insane. It was huge. How long is the queue now? I have 4 tracks. 3 tracks, I think. Yeah, 4 tracks. We have 4 tracks in the waiting list right now. I'm still working on a track you reviewed a few weeks ago. A lot has changed, but I don't think it's done yet. Is it okay to send that one? Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Sure. Hey Artifacts, can you review the latest track on my channel? I'm an amateur and would love some tips. Sure, if you send me your link to the video or to the track, wherever you have uploaded it, just send me a link in an email to my email address that's listed below the stream. And it's also listed in the stream? I forgot. Is it also in the stream? It's too small. The window is too small for me to see. Now, email address is listed below the stream. Just go and scroll down and, well, I can say you the email address. It's feedback@artfx-studios.com. So feedback@artfx-studios.com. But the email address is below the stream as well. So you just scroll down and look at the link and use that. 25 meters. Yeah, it was something like that. It was like 80 feet or something, 100 feet, I'm not sure, but it was like last year somebody had the biggest wave ever out there. And this year they just topped it again. It just went even higher. One day I'm going to Nazaré and just gonna go there to shoot some photos or shoot some video, because I would love to go there and just witness that just once in my life. That would be great. It looks like a beautiful place out there as well. Looks like you could definitely shoot some cool photos out there, so... let's go. Next track.
Okay. Nice little track. Now, I really like what you've done in the intro. The atmospheric stuff in the intro sounds pretty good. I would definitely leave that. I would definitely not change anything to that. I think throughout the entire track, it gets a little repetitive, especially here during the second part here, because the bass doesn't really change too much. It's pretty much the same Reese movement that just repeats over and over again. It's a nice bass sound though, but I think it could use a little bit more variation here and there. Especially comparing this section to this section. See, they're just identical. I would definitely try and at least add some variation there, so that it's not the same thing. Especially because this bass sound, it continues pretty much throughout the entire track. I'm talking about that mid-range layer, by the way, that I don't know how to describe it. It's a little bit of a warbly kind of bass sound. Wow, that thing, that mid-range thing that's layered on top of the bass. Yeah, I would try and add some variation to that, because it's just continuing throughout the entire track, which is fine. You could do that, but then I would at least have.
See, I'm a playboy.
Big up. Let's see. What do we have?
ゴッタドナテ for the help with the sounds ブラスは I appreciate the feedback and the knowledge you drop in the channels.
Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot. Gotta donate for the help with the sounds, brother. I appreciate the feedback and the knowledge you drop in the channels. Thanks a lot for the compliment, and yeah, thanks for the donation. Did you send me a track, by the way? And did Medic send a track? Totally forgot. I don't think you send a track, but you're probably just donating to help out. Well, that's great, and I can always use your donation, so thanks a lot. Yeah, I decided to play around with the little voice that reads out the messages, and I saw that they actually have a Japanese voice, and I was like, I wonder what that would sound like, and it actually it cracks me up every single time. So yeah, I'm keeping that. I can send link now to SoundCloud North to email because I'm not on PC. Yeah, then it's too bad. I'm not gonna go and you know, take tracks from all kinds of places, because I need to be able to keep things organized during the stream, right? So if anybody just starts sending me tracks anywhere, you know, you could send me tracks everywhere, but that's not gonna work, because I don't know who was first. I don't know. Well, I'll probably lose track of which people send me tracks. So I really only accept if you send me an email, and that's just the way I do it. And that's just to make it fair to everybody, so that we're not gonna get any issues with people that are gonna complain about, I send the track before that other guy, or I send the track a couple of times already, but you've never picked my track. You know, I don't want to have anything like that. So send me an email, and yeah, that's just it. I mean, you can even send me an email from your phone, so I don't think that's an excuse. Anyway, back to the track. So, I noticed something as well. the drums, the kick drum has a lot of high frequencies. Like, a lot. Way too much, actually, I think. It's like a kick with its sounds hi-hat layered on top of it. I would roll off some of the high frequencies from the kick, especially during the intro. The intro, it just, I don't know, it doesn't need so much high frequencies on the kick. It's only gonna make things sound, well, it's only gonna make the drums, the drop sound less heavy, because I think if you would low pass the kick, it would probably even work out better. Now, in the drop, I still think the same thing goes. The kick has a lot of high frequencies, even for the drop. Now, your drop is not one of the more heavier drops, right? It's more like a darker, rolling kind of track. It's not really like a heavy, in-your-face, Noisia style, you know, bam, Reese bass in your face track. No, it's not like that. So you don't really need so many high frequencies on that kick to make it come through the mix. Usually when you have like a track that has a really big mid-range Reese, then you might need some more high frequencies on that kick drum to make it come through the mix, because the mix is so dense and full. But this track is a much more darker track, and there's a lot more space in this mix, actually. I think you could add some more things. Maybe some atmospheric stuff on top of the bass. Maybe some weird pitch bend lead on the end of each phrase, just bending down or bending up to just transition you into the next section of the track. Stuff like that could easily still be added. So you don't really need a kick drum that is so heavily compressed and that has so many high frequencies on top of it, because there's not really any need for it. So it's only gonna make your track sound less good. And I think this is something that this really is like a mixing thing. But I would try low passing the kick drum, or at least going at it with an EQ and just rolling off some of the high frequencies. Maybe just EQ them down a bit and see if that makes it any better. Especially if you compare the kick and the snare. Like, the snare does not have those high frequencies on top. Or at least it has a lot less of them. So the kick drum kicks in. The kick drum kicks in. That's odd. But the kick drum hits, and then it just has this really ear-piercing high frequency on top of it. And then the snare drum actually sounds a little bit muffled because of that. So I think if you low pass the kick drum, that would already solve that problem as well, because then the kick and the snare are gonna sound much more similar in terms of the frequency range. And I think that's definitely something you want to do. So, yeah. Anything more? Don't really hear anything that I wanna point out right now. Isn't that just sidechaining? Is the stereo off in the stream, or is the track? Oh, wait, again? Why does that happen every single time? Wait, is it? No, the stream is perfectly in stereo. I see different levels on the left and right channel inside my Streamlabs, so it's clearly stereo. My voice is mono, though. My voice is mono because that just makes it easier for me. But the desktop audio, the audio that is coming from SoundCloud is perfectly stereo. Maybe this track does not have a lot of stereo content. Actually, I think it has quite a bit, but isn't that just sidechaining? Well, see, sidechaining is pretty much, it's one way to make your drums come through a mix, but there's a lot of ways to do that, you know? It's not just sidechaining. Sidechaining is one effect that can help, but it's also something that doesn't always work, you know? Like, sometimes to make the drums work in a mix, you would have to, by just using sidechaining, I mean, you would have to sidechain so much that you're actually gonna lose too much from the bass or the synths. So, you might not want to do that. You might want to back to sidechaining up, but then the drums are not really punching through the mix too well. So what can you do? Well, in that case, there are some slight little tricks that you could do, like adding some more high frequencies to your drums to make them, well, hope that they're gonna punch through that bass line, or adding some saturation to the drums to bring the perceived loudness up from the drums instead of actually making them louder. Stuff like that can help to bring stuff more forward in a mix as well. Or stuff like balancing the volumes of the individual layers, or adding reverb to sounds that need to be more in the background. So if you have like some pads or synths and they are playing, and then the drums are not really coming through the synths and the atmosphere stuff too well because the mix is so dense, maybe you want to add a little bit of reverb to those sounds, or maybe you want to bring them down in volume a bit. So that was weird. My voice just cracked. But you just want to, you know, level things out a bit, and there's a lot of ways how to make stuff work in a mix. It's not just using sidechaining. But sidechaining is a tool you could use for that. Okay, Spiralist send a track, so you're gonna be next then. You have a light concussion because you fell on a rock 2 days ago. Okay. Hope you're fine, mate. How long is the queue now? Holy shit, we've got a lot of tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tracks. 10, 11 tracks. Holy shit, we have a lot to do. That might actually be too much to do in one stream. Anyway, let's get back to business then. So, Spiralus is going to be next because he made a donation. Zavaya, I'm actually going to give you a follow because I would like to see you where you're going to take this track or what you're going to do next. I'm going to give you a follow and I'll try and look at it. So, next up would be Spiralus, of course. So let's see which track is yours. Dun, 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 dun. Bum bum bum. I can't find it. Refresh me. What is the name that you've used? That's not it. I need to, I can actually open up the emails, but I need to mark them as unread again, because otherwise I'm gonna forget about people's tracks. So I'm just going through the tracks right now, through all the emails, looking for your track. Ah, there we have it. There we have it. Copy. Yeah, it's gonna go from your email, yeah, probably, but I don't see your artist name in the email. I just I just see some random names of people that I have never heard of before. But I have your link, so everything is fine. I found it. So, drum and bass. Okay, cool. Hey, Jules, welcome. Welcome back. So, let's go. Interesting start.
The world of sound is governed by exact numbers, but it's clear that it must begin. It must begin. Back to Asia.
Interesting, very interesting. What I thought when the intro started playing, and yeah, I was filling my vape, by the way. I just saw that it was almost empty. So, first thing I noticed when the intro started playing is I was like, this sounds like it was sampled from some old jazz or some old swing music. Like, I've been listening to some swing music in the last week, like some really old stuff, like 1950s style music. I really like that. And it really has that kind of sound to it. The chords have a bit of that vibe that you hear a lot in those kind of tracks. Now, I really like where this is going, actually. I think this is something different. The only thing I'm not too sure about is the way the bass line comes in at the start of the drop. And
It's governed by exact numbers, but it's clear that it must begin.
I don't know, it's like, it's almost as if the first note of the bass is a little distorted or something. Something, yeah, it just sounds a little off on that bass to me. I'm not sure what.
It's clear that it must begin.
Like, it sounds like there's some rumble going on. Something that is interfering with the actual Reese. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, for just a brief moment, like the first 2 or 3 beats of the drop, there's something that is giving that bass a bit of a rumble, and I don't really like that. And it's gone later on in the drop, I think. Yeah, here it's gone. Here the bass sounds cleaner. So my guess is that you've got some other sound layered on that start of the drop. Maybe an impact sound or anything to give that first kick drum a bit more impact that is interfering with the bass. That's my guess, though. Yeah, Art, the swing music sampling stuff is my thing. This was a sample that I found and worked with. It needed some depth, but it worked out. Yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like that piano thing. It sounds really nice. It's different, and that's cool. It's always great. Maybe I should remove the 808 drop. It's the 808 drop in there. Oh, yeah, if you've done layered, like an 808 kick on the first kick to give it some more, I don't know, some more impact, yeah, then that's probably what is causing it. It's probably the sub bass of the Reese that is interfering with that 808. So, probably if you get the 808 out, that little rumble is going to be gone. See, the thing is, that rumble pretty much is a result of layering 2 different frequency sine waves on top of each other. So 2 different frequency low sine waves. So I'm talking about sub frequencies right now. So if you have like 2 sub frequencies, this could be an 808, which is like almost a sine wave anyway, but just with a pitch envelope on it. And then you have like your sub bass of your Reese, which is if you low pass your Reese down to just the sub, it's still going to be pretty much a sine wave. If these 2 are in different frequencies, and if the 808 is like a regular 808, 808's pitched down over time, then that frequency is not going to be the same as the sub from the Reese. And when you overlap 2 different frequency sub basses, you get a warbly kind of effect. You get that rumbly effect because the 2 sub frequencies are pretty much just canceling each other out, but because they're not at the same frequency, they're not always canceling each other out in the exact same amount. So that's just what makes it sound a little odd, I think. It's kind of similar to what people do when they want to create like a fake Reese, just to give it a name, where they use 2 notes 1 semitone apart to get the modulation in the Reese. That's kind of like the same thing. You have 2 different notes that are close together but not exactly the same, and because they're playing together, they're creating this warbly, rumbly kind of effect
because of the phase cancellation. So I think that is something I would definitely try and looking at it. How the fuck are you hearing that shit? I just got 2 KRKs and I don't hear any distortion. I'm listening on headphones, and you most of the times can judge things a lot better on headphones than on monitor speakers. The reason for that is that monitor speakers, you gotta take into account your actual room as well. You can get the best speakers out there, but that's gonna tell you nothing, you know? Those speakers are gonna be worthless in a room that's not properly treated. So, well, they probably won't be worthless compared to like a shitty speaker system, but you get the point. If you want to get the best out of your high-end speakers, you want to make sure that the room you place them in is treated professionally as well. Because otherwise, it's, well, not going to give you the best representation of your track, and you're probably going to get a better representation listening on headphones, because then you don't have to take into account the actual room. So, no, I mean, I work on monitors as well, and I work on monitors a lot, but for me it's just a combination of working on monitors and working on headphones, putting my tracks that I made on my phone, listening to them on my earbuds from my phone that I use a lot when I'm riding my bike, so I know how other tracks sound on those headphones as well. The thing is, you just want to have multiple different ways of checking your track. Because if you have multiple ways, if you have like a couple of different speaker systems, and these could be the speakers of your TV, these could be your hi-fi set downstairs, this could be the earbuds that you use all the time, this could even be your phone speaker. Anything that you listen to music to on a regular basis is a good way of referencing your own tracks to. Because if you listen to a lot of music on your Apple earbuds from your iPod or your iPhone, then you probably know what other people's tracks should sound like on those earbuds. So if you then listen to your own track on those earbuds, it should be pretty clear what it misses or what should change. And the same goes for your speakers, the same goes for your headphones. Just be sure to use them a lot, not just to make music, but also to listen to other people's tracks, because that way you will start to understand your speakers a lot better. Now, the other thing is, though, you could have monitor speakers, and you could still have a treated room as well, but still, you might not be able to spot the same things that other people are spotting, because you also have to take into account your own hearing, and how much you've practiced your hearing to spot out subtle differences in music. I've been making music for more than 15 years, so my ears are pretty trained by now. But if you've just been making music for like 2 years, yeah, you're gonna be less trained. So the longer you're gonna be making music, the more trained you're gonna be in spotting subtle differences and spotting subtle issues in a mixdown. And that just comes with time. That's just a lot of practice and listening to a lot of music. But you definitely did not got your monitors for doo-doo. Agreed, when my old band was recording our album and mastering it, we were listening to it on multiple different speakers, headphones, and car stereo. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's just the thing is with especially why this particular thing in the track stood out so much to me is because the first hit of a drop is probably the most important section of the drop, because that first kick drum, that first moment when the first kick of the drop hits, that is where it gets the impact, right? You have the build up and then the impact of the drop is there. But if something like this is causing that weird stuff in the low frequencies, and that is causing a little bit of distortion, just to give it a name, it's kind of like just two frequencies that are not aligned properly, and it's causing some weird stuff in the mix. Because of that, you're actually losing impact with this drop. So
Exact number, but it's clear that it must begin.
yeah, I think if the bass just sounds like it sounds in the second bar of the drop, it would already be a lot better. Because in the second bar and onward from there, it just sounds a lot cleaner. The Reese, at least, sounds a lot cleaner. And I think if there's indeed an 808 there, get that thing out of there and see if that improves it. If you want to add something to the start of the drop to give it more impact, most of the time, it's not going to be a low frequency sound, because that anything that has low frequencies is probably gonna interfere with the sub of your Reese. So when I try and add more impact to a drop, it's usually going to be a more high frequency sound. Could be a orchestral stab, could be a synth stab, could be a vocal with some reverb on it, like a vocal chop with some reverb on it, just something to give that first part of the drop some more impact. But most of the time it doesn't have to be a low frequency sound. I'm actually doing it in one of my own tracks that I was working on. I think it's this one. Let's see.
Blood floods your eye, fuck up your optics.
Did you hear that? Right here, I'm using an orchestral stab to give that first hit of the drop more impact. It's not a low frequency sound. In fact, I've even high-passed it probably up to about, I don't know, maybe 200, 300 hertz. Just to get anything below that out of there, because it's probably not going to make it any better. I just need the higher frequencies, because that is what's going to give the drop more impact without affecting the low frequencies. So, and you can hear right here in this particular example, it actually works very well.
Blood floods your eye, fuck up your optics.
And I'm using it quite often in this track. It's not really a sound to give the first hit impact. It's more of a sound that just continues throughout the entire track. But at the same time, it is also giving the drop more impact because it's layered on top of that first kick. I get that what you're trying to do with the 808 is a similar thing. You're trying to add something to that first kick to reinforce it, but it's not really helping you out too much right now. But I think that was a good example of what could work. Now, I'm not saying you need to do an orchestral stab, but
is governed by exact numbers. But it's clear that it must begin.
I like that little piano fill that you have there. Like other than that, I really like what you did with the amen break in there. Definitely adds to the track. Yeah, I just think that first hit of the drop just put me off. And that's pretty much it. Now, obviously, the whole mix down could have a little bit of work, but you've already said that, so you're aware of that. Mix down and mastering needs a little work, but other than that, I think production-wise, it's pretty good, and it's different, but it's interesting. Just work on that first hit of the drop. That's what I would try and do. So, I think we have to move on to the next track, because otherwise we're not gonna be able to do a lot in this stream. We've been on this track for quite a while now, and more tracks have come in, of course. So, the next one up would be Joy. Joy.
Van Liddy, you said you were gonna go? Well, I'm gonna go and do, what is it? Joy. Joy is your email address, or your email name. Yeah, oh, that's your SoundCloud as well. Okay, there we go. Interesting. I actually quite like this. I'm not a big fan of future bass. It's not a genre I listen to a lot. For me, it's usually too synthy, too melodic, and I'm not a big fan of those kind of tracks. But that being said, it actually means a lot because I quite enjoyed this little thing. It's not a full track. It's a preview, I see. It's coming out soon. I'll actually give you a follow as well because I would love to hear the final result of this. I actually think this sounds pretty damn good. Let me just listen to it again and see if I can spot anything that I would change. Yeah, I agree. The picture doesn't really fit. I agree. Yeah. I'm not even sure why this track is titled Warrior, because it doesn't really scream a warrior vibe to me. To me, it screams more like a happy, uplifting kind of thing, but that's just me. That percussion sound, that metallic percussion sound in the background, is that a Zippo lighter opening up? Because it definitely sounds like one. I'm looking where mine is right now. Let's see, I had two Zippo lighters, but where are they? Don't know. But it sounds like one of those lighters opening up. And you've just chopped it up and used that as percussion. Could be wrong though. Yeah, it definitely sounds like one. Now I wanna compare. Where is my lighter? Let me check. No clue where it is. So, we'll have to forget about that. Foley, okay. Well, I mean, a Zippo lighter opening up is actually a Foley sound as well. So, I was kinda right. Got bored of regular instruments. No, actually, I would advise anybody making music, regardless of the genre, to not just use sample packs and not just use synths and presets, but buy yourself a portable recorder at least. Doesn't have to be an expensive one, but just something that you can record good quality audio with. Your phone is not the best one because your phone, the recorder of it is pretty low quality. If that's the only thing you have, go for it. With a bit of effects, you could probably make it work. But anybody who's making music or doing some kind of work in audio, doesn't matter what. If you are a video game composer or if you make music for TV or movies or anything like that, or just regular music, get yourself a portable recorder that you can just take with you wherever you go, chuck it in your backpack, and when you're on the train station waiting for your train, just take the thing out, record some stuff, and when you come home, just go through it, and you'll be surprised with how many cool sounds you can find outside and just how many cool sounds you can make from that. Stuff like this, like I said, the Zippo lighter opening up could be a great percussion sound with a little bit of work. Going out into the woods, recording some branches being broken or some leaf being rustled against each other. Stuff like that could be great percussion sounds. And especially if you start processing them, you could even turn them into great stuff that is just going to make your track sound next level. Same thing goes when you have a track done, but it misses something. Take some self-recorded Foley sounds and try layering it in your track, and if you do it right, it could make your track a lot better and sound a lot more professional, a lot fuller, because of those unexpected elements. See, that's the thing. These days in music, so many things have been done, so when you add stuff that is slightly out of the ordinary, that is usually a good thing, because that is gonna it's gonna take the listener's attention, you know? And any percussion sound that is not like a regular percussion sound will help with that. So, great job on doing that with the percussion. Definitely liking this. Definitely, I think it's a good thing. And I saw something flying. I think it's a mosquito or something. But, god damn it. I have to go on to another mosquito hunt after the stream, I guess. You know, one thing I just noticed that might be cool to do, everything in the build-up here, most of the things are building up in pitch, right? Except for the chords. The chords stay in the same pitch, and it kind of sounds a little off. It's not really a problem, it's not really an issue, but I'm thinking it could maybe work if you pitch up the chords as well, so that they pitch up with the risers, which is gonna make them sound slightly out of tune probably, because you're gonna pitch the chords, and that's usually gonna sound a little weird. But in combination with the pitching up of the risers and other stuff that you've got going on, I think it could actually be a cool thing to do, because you're gonna create tension if you do that, because pitching those chords, it's gonna the chords are gonna move through frequencies and notes and harmonics that are not part of the regular harmonics or notes or whatever. If you play in the scale, or if you just do whatever you normally do when it's correct in terms of music theory, you're not really creating tension. But as soon as you move away from those notes,
you will start adding tension. So I think if you maybe just try it out, pitching the chords up together with the riser might actually give the transition from the riser to the drop more contrast as well. Because right now you have the chords building up, or the chords are in the build up, and they hit in the drop as well. In the drop they sound a little bit more open, maybe on the filter, I guess. And there's a lead on top of it, so maybe the chords are just the same as in the build-up, but the lead makes it sound like they are more open. But yeah, I think if you would pitch those chords, maybe that could make it better, because it creates more tension towards the drop, and then the pitch drops back down to its regular value, adding a slight bit of more tension or contrast, which I think could be a good thing. Other than that, though, yeah, not really anything else to say about this one. Yeah, like I said, nothing else. I think everything else sounds pretty good. I would just try that out. That was the only thing that really... That was the only thing I could come up with. So, that's a good thing, though. If I don't know much to say about your track, that means you're going into the right direction. Because if I have a lot of things to say about your track, then you know you've got some work to do. So, great job. And let's move on to the next track, because we have a lot. And the list is only growing. Next one up would be Young Boy Beats. Let me know in the chat if you're still here, because it's been a while since you've sent your email, almost an hour ago. So let me know in the chat if you're still here, and then we'll do your track, Young Boy Beats. Actually, Joy, I gave you a follow as well, or I might have actually already been followed to you, but I'll add your track to my feedback stream playlist. The other two tracks are both private, so I cannot really add those to my playlist. No, I cannot do that. Anyway, next one up would be Young Boy Beats. Young Boy Beats. This is so frustrating, lol. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, let's, if he's still here. The email with which I sent you the track is... Okay, no problem, man, no problem. So, Young Boy Beats, are you still here? We're about to do your track for feedback, but you gotta be here, otherwise there's no point in me giving you feedback. So, next up would be Jared Boyer, if Young Boy Beats does not respond in the next minute or so. Demo. Okay. So, Young Boy Beats, is he here already? I don't think he's here. Well, we'll give him a minute. We'll give him a little minute. You know what, guys? I'll let you guys listen to this. I'll let you guys listen to this track one more time, to the track of Joy. I'll take a little bathroom break, just yeah, you know why. And if he's not back when I come back, then we'll move on to the next track. So I'll be back in just I don't know, like half a minute or so.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Young Boy Beats is here, so we're gonna move on to the next one, which would be Jarrett something? Jarrett Boyer. Again, this one is from a little while ago, so let's see if he's here. Jarrett, if you're here, let me know. Otherwise, next one would be Selen. Selen back with another one. Oh, Young Boy Beats, that's Venlity. Okay. Then stay just for a little bit. We're gonna do your track right now. Is this you? Okay, let's do your track. There we go. Okay, I already know something to say. The thing I was gonna want to say about this is that that sample just screams for an old school hip hop style drum loop. That's just my opinion though. I am not a big fan of trap music, so the type of trap that I would listen to is usually the more heavier trap stuff. And when it comes to hip hop production, one type of track, one type of hip hop beat that I never made myself because I don't like it is trap. Other than that though, that loop that you have, that sample in the intro, is really like an old school hip hop style sample, the way you cut it as well. So I think if you add more like old school drums instead of the trap drums, I think it would actually sound better. That's just my opinion though. And that's just personal preference, right? That's just my own taste. If you want to go for a more trap style track, fine, do it. It's all up to you. That's just my own personal taste. I think the sample though could be either the sample could be a little quieter and the drums could be a little louder, or the sample like the sample itself, it sounds a little distorted, a little saturated, which could, if you sampled it from like another track or like an older track, then that's perfectly fine. But you will have to
if you sample something and you sample something from an old record that has some distortion, you would have to take that into account when you add some drums. Because if the sample, like right now, see, there's definitely some saturation going on there on the sample, or at least something that is making it distort. And that could be if it's sampled from an old vinyl record, for instance. That could be if it's, you know, made with some old equipment that back then that just had some distortion or added some distortion. It could be added over time because the quality got degraded because people just uploaded the track somewhere and then somebody else downloaded it and uploaded it again somewhere else, degrading the quality even further. You know, it could be all kinds of things. But the thing that that distortion does, it's giving that loop, that sample, a lot of harmonic content. It's like, I would bet if you look at it on a frequency analyzer, it would look pretty filled out in frequencies. Then the drums come in, and the drums are actually very clean. So I think if you would just bring the sample down a little bit in volume, that would probably make it work better. Or add some saturation to the drums to get those more in the same ballpark as what the sample is doing. See, like the sample has this more like distorted sound, and holy shit, that was one gigantic lightning flash outside. I literally just saw the entire sky become bright. That was close. Don't hear the thunder though. Oh, there it is. Nice. I might go out shoot some photos later then if it starts thunderstorming out here. But yeah, what I think is like, because the sample has a bit of distortion on it, right? Or at least it has that distorted sound. You would want to do that or do something similar to the drums, because then they would feel more cohesive, right? The same thing goes if you have like what we do, like people like me and other people that usually come to this channel. A lot of them make electronic music, a lot of them actually make bass music, like drum and bass, dubstep, stuff like that, right? What we do a lot is we build our drops, which is like the climax section of the track, the most busy section of the track. It would be like the section where everybody goes nuts in a club, right? We would build our drops or bass lines out of multiple different bass sounds. And if you combine those bass sounds together to form one full bass line, they will have to match each other in terms of sound or in terms of strength or in terms of how they are processed. You know, you cannot really use like one bass sound that is super distorted and then have one super clean bass sound and expect it to work together. Because it's just not gonna sound right together. It's gonna sound off slightly. And I think that's kind of what's going on here as well, except it's the difference between the sample you have and the drums that you have. A lot of times with old school hip hop, you would hear a lot of these kind of samples that you have in the intro. And what they would do is they would add some really beefy, distorted old school hip hop style drums to actually complement that sample. And you could do that in a trap style as well. You just want to saturate the drums a bit so that they get a more beefier, well, kind of sound, right? And that's just what I would do. So let's see. I heard some clicks. Are there clicks? Oh yeah, there's a click right there. Yeah, that is just loop cycles, indeed. When you loop a sample, you wanna add some fades on the part where you chopped it. You want to add a fade so that it doesn't, because if you chop a sample, you gotta be aware that you chop it exactly on the zero crossing point. Now, if you don't know what a zero crossing point is, just look it up on Google. Google will probably be able to explain it better than I can. But it's pretty simple. If you don't chop it on the zero crossing point, you're basically gonna get a click as a result. So there's two ways how to get rid of it. One is to just add a fade on the end of the sample and at the start of the sample. Can be a really short fade, doesn't have to be like a huge long fade, just a short one, just so that the volume drops back to perfectly zero at the end of the sample. Because when you chop not on the zero crossing, that basically means that the speaker is still doing something, right? And when you have a waveform, you have the center line, and then you have the positive and the negative range. I think when the positive range, I think then the speaker moves outwards, and on the negative range, the speaker moves inwards. I think that's what it is, or it could be the other way around. I'm not sure. But if you basically see the center line as complete silence, and anything above or below that is going to be sound, then if you chop somewhere where it's not on the zero crossing point, which would be complete silence, the volume is gonna go from where it is to complete silence in, well, pretty much right away. There's no fade, there's no curve, it just jumps from wherever it is to the center line, because you chopped it. And that's gonna create a click. So, if you want to get rid of it, add some fades, or crossfade between the individual loops of that sample. If you add a crossfade between the two instances of the sample, that will do the same thing. But yeah, that's something I would do. Artifacts DMB, are you from the Netherlands? Yes, I am. Bioradar says you're gonna have a lot of lighting. Really? Well, lighting is good, but to be able to shoot good photos, we also need lighting with very little rain. And no, it's gonna rain very, very much. I'm probably not gonna go out to shoot photos. See, the thing is, shooting thunderstorms, it's cool to do, but you gotta be aware that most of the time it's gonna be raining. And if you want to get a good view on the lightning strikes and you want to photograph them beautifully, then you want to shoot from a spot where you're at least outside of the rain and you've got a clear view on the storm itself. So any rain in between you and the storm is gonna make the photos less good. So actually, I think I'm already too late right now. Usually what you want to do is you want to stay in front of the storm, because then the rain is usually on the backside of the storm. So if the thunderstorm comes over you, if you're going to stay in front of it, you're going to have a clear view. But if you're going to be on the back of it, that's where all the rain is going to be. You're not going to get a good view. So probably by the time I'm done streaming, if I look at it right now, yeah, there's going to be a lot of rain. There's going to be a lot of rain coming from now on, so I'll probably stay inside. Or you have to find like a spot where you're out of the rain. That sometimes can also work. But yes, I am from the Netherlands. I'm from Rotterdam. So I am Dutch. I see some German in here. Willkommen. Willkommen. Achtung. Next one up. Let's go to the next track. Next one up. Oh yeah, that was Jared's track. Jared Boyer, and he said he was here, so let's copy his link. And let's move it on to the next track. Oh, I already had the track. I didn't even have to do that. Keep it English, guys. Yeah, keep it English as much as possible. I mean, it's fine if you just wanna, you know, if somebody says something to you and you just wanna say something in your language, but you gotta be, you gotta keep in mind that if you start speaking in the chat too much in different languages, I cannot understand it, and if I get too much of that, then I might actually have to put the chat on an English-only chat. But that's also going to be annoying, because then anything that is not a proper English word might mean that your comment is not going to go through. So I kind of not want to do that. But, yeah, that being said, I think, you know, if every now and then some other language word comes in, if it's called for, you know, or if it feels right in the chat, then that's all fine. Previously, we had a couple of people just speaking entire conversations in Russian, that was getting a little annoying because I was not able to see what was actually going on in the chat between all the Russian posts. But I mean, I just said that to them as well, what I just said to you guys, and it was all fine. So I'm not gonna ban anybody for that or anything like that. So don't worry. Wait, Jared, are you still here? I mean, I played your track, but are you still here? I think you are. Jared, are you here? How long was it ago since Jared said something? Said something just a while ago. How long was it ago? 15 minutes ago. Okay, Jared is here. Cool. There we go. We kunnen een Nederlandse stream doen hoor. So, this one, the drop doesn't really bang. I don't know. I think it sounded pretty damn interesting. It's still, again, this is again a trap thing. I'm not gonna say it again, but you guys know I'm not a big fan of it. But I actually just said it again. Anyway, intro sounds really cool though. The choir sounds a little weird at some point. Is it a sample, that choir? Because at some point it sounds like you've chopped it and it just makes a really abrupt change. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, there, right there, it just made that, it just sounds like it's a sample actually. Hey Artifacts, how long is the queue for feedback? We've got a pretty long queue right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tracks. That's way more than we can do in one stream. So I'm gonna excuse myself already for now. If I'm not able to do all of your guys' tracks, don't worry. Don't start hating me, because I'm getting more tracks right now than I can review in one stream. So the waiting list is quite long. Now, where did you, Jared, where did you get the choir from? That's something I'm wondering about. I think it's a good idea, though. I think it could work, but I do agree with you that a different choir sound is probably going to be better. So, first thing I would like to know where you got the choir from, or what it is. Is it a sample? Is it coming from Contact or anything like that? I think actually, inside of Omnisphere, there's a choir patch called Japanese Children's Choir. It's a really beautiful choir. It's more of a choir that you would normally play in a higher register. And it has kind of like that that Ghost in the Shell type choir sound. If you're familiar with the Ghost in the Shell anime, and if you're familiar with the soundtrack, it has that really beautiful choir, right? Which is not a children's choir, by the way. It's actually a Bulgarian choir, or it is a Japanese choir, but the composer of that original soundtrack of Ghost in the Shell, he took inspiration from a choir from Bulgaria, which is called, what was it called? The Mystery Voices of Bulgaria. And if you look them up right now, you're gonna hear so much similarities to the Ghost in the Shell choir. Now, the thing though is that the Japanese children's choir in Omnisphere has a similar sound to it, except that the choir from Omnisphere, the one I'm talking about, you guys can probably hear the thunder right now. It's going off pretty good. But that choir has a similar character to the choir of the Ghost in the Shell soundtrack. It's not the same type of choir, because the one used in the Ghost in the Shell soundtrack is a woman's choir, and the one from Omnisphere, what I'm talking about, the patch, is a children's choir. But they both have a sound where they are played in a higher register. However, that choir patch from Omnisphere, that Japanese children's choir, if you play it in a lower register, it starts to sound similar to what you have right here. I'm actually going to open up Ableton, just so I can show you what it sounds like. And I think maybe if you play the same thing, but then with like a choir patch from, like the one I'm talking about from Omnisphere, could also probably find one in Contact, but I'm not sure which one in Contact I would use. I mostly use Omnisphere choirs because I just love the sound of the choirs in Omnisphere. Has Ableton opened up yet? Nope, it's still loading, but let's just wait for that to load. Yeah, the thing is that choir, it just has a really beautiful sound, and I think when you play it in a lower register, it will get a similar sound as to what you have right now. Except, right now, when the choir starts singing a new note, I guess, it cuts off pretty abruptly. There's two things you could do. Find a better choir patch, or, and that's something I'm thinking of now, add some reverb to the choir. Is there any reverb on it? Let's check. If there's reverb on the choir, it's not a big reverb. I think a bigger reverb on that choir could also help, because that will give, that will kind of blur out the transition between the notes of the choir. So that the choir is singing something, right? They're singing these different notes, and every time you move from one note to the other, it's that transition is kind of, it's kind of dry, right? And therefore it doesn't really flow too well through each other, if that makes any sense. Okay, Ableton is here. Let's open up Omnisphere, because that's going to take a little while as well. Omnisphere is one of those plugins that always takes a long time to load. It got better though since the last upgrade, but it's still not that good. It's still a little slow. I love Omnisphere more than I love my girlfriend. Yeah, Omnisphere is absolutely great.
So here we have Omnisphere. Let me really quickly jump to this view for now. Human voices. Let me sort that by rating. Dun, 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 dun. Here, Japanese Children's Choir. See, that has a really similar sound to that choir that you can hear in the Ghost in the Shell soundtrack. So that has a similar sound, but if we play this in a lower register, I think this choir, first of all, sounds better than the one that you've used. And a lot of the choirs from Omnisphere will sound probably better than the one that you've used. The one that you've used, I'm not sure which one it is. You've said it was from Contact. So which one, what library was it? Like, because I know quite a few Contact libraries for vocals, and most of them sound better than the vocal in your track. So, but this one sounds absolutely beautiful, absolutely. See, so that choir sounds absolutely beautiful, right? Now let's load up Contact. And let's load up that choir that you've used, because I would love to hear the difference. Again, Contact is another plugin that takes a little while to load, so bear with me. I mean, Omnisphere is absolutely great. I'm not sure if you have it. It's a little bit expensive, so if you don't have it, don't just go and buy Omnisphere right away. Oh yeah, there's a lot of choirs in here, actually. I'm not sure which one you've used. There's a lot. Sounds like an ah. An ah. Probably this one. I mean, the factory library is good, but it's very dry. The factory library, usually, if I use it, it gets a lot of reverb. So, this could be the one. Actually sounds like there's a little bit of reverb on it. But you can just hear, it sounds a lot less interesting and a lot less beautiful than the one that I just played from Omnisphere. So, one thing I think could improve the Contact one is adding a good amount of reverb.
and you probably want to take something like a church reverb, so something that is quite long, and you probably want to have the mix up quite high as well. But see, just by adding a little bit of reverb, we've already made this contact choir, the factory one, a lot more interesting. And I think something like that is definitely what I would try and do. There's other ones in here though. Like the Voxos library is also a pretty good one for contact. So if you want to get a better choir and you want to keep using contact, I can definitely advise you to have a look at this one. It's Voxels, and Voxels is a pretty cool one. Now let's see what the boys choir sounds like here. Again, already you can see that this one takes a lot longer to load, and that means that there's a lot more samples coming with this particular patch. Now the more samples that come with the patch usually means that it sounds more detailed, it sounds of a higher quality, because there's simply a lot more work has put into actually recording the choir, right? So we'll let this one load. And I'll listen to your track one moment again. I'm not gonna go and click your SoundCloud links if you just spam them in the chat. There's instructions on how to submit your tracks below the stream, and that is the only way how I accept the tracks for review. However, I don't think it'll be a good thing to send your track, because I've got way too many tracks already to be able to do this stream. So if you send your track now, I'm just gonna tell you that I will not be able to do this on this stream. I'm gonna be streaming for about an hour from now on, and we have more tracks than we could fit into an hour. So if you wanna get some feedback, I invite you to come back again next week on Friday. I do this every Friday. Sometimes I start actually working on some music myself, and damn, there was a big thunder. Holy shit. I feel like the thunderstorm is now right above my house. But yeah, like you could come back every Friday. 8 p.m. Central European time is usually the time that I stream at. Today we had a little issue before the stream, so I was not able to start at 8 p.m. But usually I start at 8. Sometimes I do some music production first, and then we end with a feedback session. Today we just do feedback, and that's all we're doing today. So just save your track for a later date. And feel free to send me that later. So, this is the boys choir. Now this one is very. It doesn't have too many samples included. Yeah, that's not really the one I think you probably want to use. Like, I could load up all of these, and then we're gonna get a much bigger range. Because the range is a little limited right now. But if I load them all up, then we're gonna have a much bigger range. And we would be able to play a more similar thing, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a big fan of the one coming from Omnisphere. If I just compare any one of those choirs to this one. See, that choir, it just sounds so much richer and so much more processed and so much fuller that it's just a choir I keep going back to. And a lot of the choirs in here have a similar kind of sound. Like this one, the English combined choir. See, this one, again, also has a really beautiful sound, and I think it goes for a lot of the choirs in Omnisphere. So, see, the thing is, when you use a choir, it has to be a good one. That's my opinion, at least. And I think the one from the Contact Factory library, without any processing, is not really one that stands out to me. It's one that I think of like, it sounds a little bit cheap, a little bit basic, and it's like a really standard choir sound, and yeah, you could get the same choir. You could get a better choir sound by just sampling an actual choir. So, like, the thunder with the choir sounded atmospheric as fuck. Nice. Yeah, it's really, the thunderstorm is kicking off right now. But yeah, I think that choir is, the idea is good. I really like the idea of adding the choir there, and the thing you're doing with it sounds cool as well, note-wise and stuff like that. I just don't feel the choir sound itself. One thing I absolutely do like, though, and that's something I wanted to point out before we move on to the next one, is that little 808, that little phrase that you're doing with the 808 where it pitches up to different notes. Let's see if I can find it. That part, that I don't know how to do it, but that part, and it's you can hear it better somewhere here, I think. Yeah, that. I love what you're doing there. That's a great thing to do with an 808. And the thing that I like a lot about it is that you've only used it twice, I think. Twice in this entire part, in this entire piece of music. Something like that is great, but it's very easy to overuse it. Like, if you find something that sounds really cool, then most of the time people would just start using it throughout the entire track because, right, it sounds cool, so you want to use it as much as possible. But sometimes you just want to have something that sounds really cool but comes in only once or twice in the track, and I think this is one of those things. That pitch, that thing where the 808 moves to different notes. Great job on that. It's something I pointed at, well, it's something that jumped out to me as something that I really like. So, great job. Now, other than that, I don't have much to say. I definitely would try and find a better choir, though. Little bit of work maybe on the transition from the intro into the drop, if you can even call it a drop. The first beat is kind of lost a little bit, but that's just a matter of mixing and giving everything its own place. Well, I can kind of hear when it starts, like when the 808 kicks in, that's the start of the drop, so it's not too bad. I think it's actually pretty good right now. But yeah, the choir, yeah, I would change it. I would probably either change it or get rid of it completely. But I kind of like what you're doing, so I would just try and change it. So, next track, oh, let me switch back to the feedback stream view. Next track would be Selen, are you here? Selen, let me know if you're here, because we are about to do your track. Beats Demo by Selen. Let me know in the chat if you are still here. Sub is low C, so might not come across on headphones. Oh, I can hear the sub on my headphones, but a C is pretty low. Like, a C is really low for sub. Usually, I would not go that low on the sub. Oh yeah, Selen, you're a V's, of course. Totally forgot. But yeah, I'm like C is, for me at least, C is too low. The lowest I usually go in terms of the root note of my track is a D. D is usually what the lowest I would go, because anything below that usually just sounds too low on the sub. Like, it doesn't translate well on smaller speakers and on smaller headphones or well, less expensive headphones, I guess. Yeah, I usually stick to anything between the key of D and G sharp. Usually, I find A becomes too high pitched for the sub bass, and anything below D I find becomes too low. So I'm usually in between D and G sharp with my tracks. Okay, Selen is here. I'm gonna let this this demo track of Jared play one more time, because I have to make another pit stop real quick, and then I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, next track. It's actually raining so hard right now that I had to close my window because it's just coming through the little opening that I have in between the window. But yeah, next one up, Selen Beats Demo. Let's have a listen, shall we? Dude, that snare is fucking awesome. I love that snare. Rewind. Yeah. I can say one thing. You've definitely improved it. You've definitely improved it a lot. It's much better now. It's a lot better than the last time I heard it. Like last time you had the lo-fi-ish kind of snare that I really did not like, and I told you that, right? This is such a improvement, really. And just looking at the chat, I think most of the people agree with me. It's still a little weird track. Like the actual drop sections are pretty short compared to what the intro is and the breakdown. Like they look about twice as long, but I'm not sure. Oh no, wait, you have the weird pitch bend thing right here. which at first kind of threw me off, but I kind of like it as well. It's one of those things that is unexpected, but it kind of works at the same time, and that's usually a good thing. Like when you've got some unexpected things happening in your track that might throw the listener off and make them think like, whoa, what was that? That's usually a good thing. But it's also very easy to overdo that. So there's a fine line between that being good and being a bad thing. And I think right now this sounds good. And with this new snare, absolutely sounds a lot better. A lot. You tried a lot of snares. Well, you've settled for the right one, I think. What I would say, though, is maybe you do something to accentuate the transient. Oh, no, I think the snare drum sounds good as it is. This definitely doesn't need anything. The one at the end, though, might need something. That one. That one has a long tail to it, but it has a lot less impact on the transient. You know what I would do? I hear the fire brigade outside. Maybe the lightning has struck somewhere. What I would do, and this is actually gonna be very easy to do, because you've already have all the elements you need. You just have to put them together. Take the snare drum that you have in the first half here. That snare drum. Take that snare and then chop off just the transient of that snare. So just take the very first part, the part that makes that snare hit, right? The transient. And then take the other snare, chop the transient off there, and replace it with the transient from the snare in the first half. Then you will still have the long tail of the snare in the second half here. So you will still get that same effect, but you have it with the impact of the snare in the first half. And then you basically got best of both worlds. So I would keep the snare in the first half just the way it is, but because you're switching it up here with that longer tilt snare with the ringing one, replace the transient with the original transient from the first snare. And I think that would help to give that snare the impact it needs, while still getting that long ringing tone out of the till of the snare drum. Yeah, I think you just want to use the till of this particular snare and just use that in combination with the other snare that you had earlier in the track, because that snare was absolutely awesome. That one hit you right in the face, right? This snare just hit you. Bam! You know, it's a good hitting snare. So I think if you want to have that longer tail, do it in combination with this snare. So use most of this snare, but only use the tail of that other snare to get that longer tone on the end of it. So just to get that longer tail to the snare. And don't just use this snare. Like this snare. Sounds like it's been stretched to me. And the thing is, when you stretch something, it completely ruins the transient. So if you stretch a drum sound, forget about using the transient and making it sound punchy, because usually that's not going to happen. And if you want to do that, great, but use a cleaner transient that is from a non-stretch sample, because that'll usually give you a much better sound. Yeah. Actually, everybody who's watching right now, if you are not yet part of my Discord community, then click the invite link below the stream, and you'll be added to my Discord server, where we talk about music production every single day. So if you want to be there, if you want to come hang out, I'm going to be there after the stream as well. So if you want to ask some questions or anything, feel free to do so, and feel free to join. Should I repitch the snare for that snare combining? No, not necessarily. I would just try and take the transient of the first snare and layering it with the longer tilt snare and just, you know, making it work. I don't know. It might need some pitching, and it's hard to say right now. It's hard to say without actually diving into it all with the two samples and just comparing them, you know? But I don't think you have to. I think just taking the transient that sounds punchy and taking the till that sounds long and stretched, or whatever it is, and combining those two together is just what you need to do, with maybe a little compression on it just to glue them back together. But yeah, that's all you would have to do, I think. So, next track, I guess. Next would be Zach von Stone. Zach von Stone, are you still here? Let me know. Zach von Stone. And if not, then the next one up would be Sventura Looks Tired. Great username. So Zachary, are you still here? Let me know. And otherwise we'll go on to the next one. Hey, is it too late to send a track? Yeah, kinda. I've got a lot of tracks in my email right now to do, and I've got more tracks than I can do this stream. So if you send your track now, I'm not going to be able to do it in this stream. So it's better to just save your track for any stream in the future and send it to me then when I'm actually streaming. I usually start streaming at 8 p.m. Central European time on every Friday. So that's going to be a little pointer to you. Like, if you want to be part of this feedback session and if you want to get some more chance of your track being reviewed, then be here at 8 p.m. on Friday, because that's when we start. Usually we'll do a little music production first and then we go into feedback, but sometimes, like today, we actually just start with feedback. We do feedback the entire stream. So, yeah. Right now it's gonna be too late. Hey Art, did mine come through? I sent it right at the beginning of the stream. Oh, yeah, probably. Particle Gym. Jarrett, Joy, Savaya, Youngboy Beats, more Jarrett. Yeah, we just haven't done yours yet. We just haven't reached that one, I guess. There's, I guess, more people in front of you than you thought. Actually, I got like 15 emails in almost 15 minutes or something. So, like, at the start of the stream, pretty much 15 people just sent me their tracks, I guess. So, we have a lot. Now, next one up would be Zachary, and he's here, I see. So, there we go. Let's copy his link. Well, let's move on to this track. Not sure what to name it. Well, maybe the chat can help. Maybe the chat or me, maybe we can help coming up with a name for this one. So everybody, let's listen to this and let's see if we can come up with a name.
Actually, Particle Jim, I don't think I have an email of you. A lot of future bass today. Now, I have not been able to spot anything that I would change, to be honest. I actually think this one sounds pretty good, the way it is. Like, it's not a genre I listen to a lot, but I'm listening more to it now because you guys are sending me a lot of future bass today. But yeah. Maybe the clap can be a little bit more upfront. The kick drum punches through the mix pretty well, but I feel like the clap kind of gets pushed a little to the background by those big supersol chords. The supersols are really big and upfront, and I think that is what is making the clap fall a little bit more to the background. I would like to see that clap a little more upfront, not too much, but just a little. Maybe make it slightly louder, or add some high frequencies to the clap maybe, just to give it that extra boost it needs. But it's not in every section, and it goes for the snare that you have in the main drop as well. Like, it's not really a snare, right? It's more like a percussion sound. No, it is actually the clap. So, I would like to see that a little more up front, but right now I think, yeah, it's just falling a bit more to the background, but that's just probably because of the big supersols. Like, when you have this big supersols, the drums will have to do a lot more work to actually punch through that. It's very close though. It's very close. It's a very subtle change. It doesn't have to be like a big change. You just want to add like a slight. Yeah, I think it needs a slight
bit of extra volume maybe on the clap, but other than that, I think this track is actually pretty good. Now, does anybody know a name? Because I'm thinking right now, and I have no clue. But then again, I'm pretty uninspired at the moment, so I was not able to get any music done in the last week, so yeah, that might be why. But I think this track sounds pretty good. I like that little part where it just suddenly just that part is pretty cool. That little variation there that you added. Pretty good job on that. Actually, maybe you want to sidechain the bass to the kick drum a little bit more than what you're doing right now. I feel when the drop hits, it's not just the clap that gets pushed to the background, but the kick gets pushed to the background as well. Not as much, but just a little bit. And I think if you add a little bit more sidechaining on the bass that is sidechained to the kick, it would give that kick a little bit more space, and it's probably not going to probably not going to affect the mix down too much, because taking away the sub for that just brief moment when the kick hits, it's going to be filled in by the low frequencies of the kick anyway. So it's not going to, you're probably not going to lose too much bass by doing that. And it will probably help because in the section right here, the kick drum that hits right after the drop. See, right here, the kicks are pretty good and full, and they sound big, and they sound nice and upfront in the mix. But then when you listen to the drop, they are still there, but every now and then, depending on which sound is playing in the track, or which sounds of the synths and the bass are playing, every now and then the kick disappears a little bit into the background. Yeah, I think that's just something you would want to look at, but that's just mixing stuff. That's really just mixed down. Production-wise, I think this track is as good as done. And it's just putting the little final finishing touch on it to just make it as good as possible. But, yeah. Other than that, I have nothing else to say about this one. Angel Dust would fit, I think. Actually, yeah, I think it does. Angel Dust. Yeah, why not? Why not? Well, there you have your name. Yeah, I think that could work. Something like that. So, how late is it? 10 minutes before midnight. Okay. We're gonna have time for at least a couple of more tracks. Probably 2 or 3 tracks. Sventura, are you here? Because your one is next up in line. Oh, and by the way, Van Stone, I've given you a follow on SoundCloud. So, Sventura, let me know in the chat if you're still here. If not, we'll move on to the next one, which is Zlop. Zlop. Fever Dreams.
Yeah, I think you're on the right direction with this track, though. It's very close to being finished. So, it's not like you have to do a lot to it. I would try and do as little as possible, but still improve it. Because it's almost done. Like, I wouldn't spend too much time on the actual production. I would spend some more time on the mixdown, but that's it, you know? So, Sventura, I don't think he's here. So the next one would be Zlop. And if Zlop is not here, then we're gonna go to Richards321 on SoundCloud. So, Zlop, are you here? With your track Fever Dreams? Because, oh, that's a nice graphic. I love stuff like that. I love more darker art with skulls and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of that. I think it's experimental music. Oh, experimental music is fine. That's great. I love experimental stuff. So, actually, I think the people who are next up in line have been waiting so long that they've left. No word of Sventura. No word of Zlop. Oh, Sventura's here. Okay. Then we're gonna go to that one. See? That's your artist name, yeah. See, that's the point. I cannot really see that. So, usually just try and include something that lets me know who you are in the chat. That makes it easier for me, because then I can instantly see, like, just, if you send me an email, just, I don't know, just include your username of YouTube or something, you know, how you are displayed on YouTube, because then it'll make it much easier for me, actually. Okay, Zlop is here as well. Cool. Sventura is gonna be the first one now, and after that, Zlop, you're gonna be next. So, let's get going. interesting. Definitely an experimental and a dark sounding track. What should I say about it? At first, let's say the first section from about here till about here, I was kind of like thinking, what is gonna happen? What is the structure going to be like? And then this section ended right here. And I was kind of expecting something to come in right now. So you have like, after that breakdown, after where the drums stop, I was expecting like one bar of that pulsating synth, that dong 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 dong, and then after one bar, I was expecting some new element to come in and just some big synths just coming in, because that's something you hear a lot within this genre, or within the genre of more heavier style house music, so like hard style, hard house, anything like that. You hear that a lot. Like they would have that little break moment where the drums stop, then they would have one bar of just a synth continuing playing, or any other kind of sound just continues playing, and then it comes in again. So you just break up the structure with that one bar gap. I was kind of expecting that, but it didn't happen. So it kind of let me down at one side of it, but it also is unexpected. I did not expect it to keep going on with that synth. So it threw me off, but that could be a good thing as well. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I do think though, I do think structure-wise, it could use a little work. And what I mean with that, I feel like there isn't really a clear structure to the track. Like, usually you have like intro, a drop, breakdown, drop, and then an outro. And usually just, of course, within the breakdown, there's also going to be a build-up leading up to the drop. Here, there's not really a structure like that. There is something that is like a drop section where the drums are, but then again you have that break, which is, well, mostly just synth playing, and it's kind of nice. It still works. It just threw me off because I was expecting that one bar, so like I was expecting something to come in right there, you know? Just so that you have like that one little part where the synth plays, that pulsating thing, and then bam, something comes in. Something big and epic and insanely loud or something. But, you know, you don't have to do it. However, I think it would help to give the track a bit more, I don't know how to say it, a bit more fullness, maybe, to make it sound fuller, I guess. I think it could work, but it's all up to you to do whatever you want with that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those kicks, but that's just my own personal taste. If I go for the more distorted style house kicks, then it's usually gonna be more on the gabber side of things, because that's the genre I started making music with. So I'm much more familiar with the even heavier side of house music, hardstyle, gabber, terror, stuff like that. I've been into that stuff for a long time. Not as much anymore today, but I've been into that stuff for a long time when I was younger. And yeah, hard house has always kind of been like one of those genres that, yeah, was really hit and miss for me. Every now and then there would be one or two tracks I would like, but most of them I would be like, yeah, it's too distorted to be like regular music, if that makes sense. But it's too clean and too sweet sounding, or too clean sounding for actual like what I would like, and that's like the even heavier stuff.
I still think there is definitely a market for this kind of stuff. There's a lot of people, especially here in Europe, that love this kind of music. So I just think structure-wise is what you would want to put some more work in and try and get a better structure throughout the track so that it makes a little bit more sense. Especially if you compare, like, you have the first section here, which is where the drums and the bass play, and which is like the climax of the track, and then you have another one of those climax sections here, and that one is twice the length, I think, maybe even 3 times the length of this one. So, see, that's what I mean with structure. Like, a track is usually divided up into parts, right? And each part is usually going to be 8 bars or 16 bars. But between the different sections, you don't want to go away from that too much, or it might sound odd. If you get what I mean. It's just that I feel like structure-wise, I think you could definitely improve this track. Just try and arrange it all so that it makes more sense and that it leads up to something. I'm not a big fan of that kick drum being filtered in right there. I think it actually takes away of what comes after it. I think if you would not do that with the kick, and maybe use some other stuff to make that building, to make that rise towards the climax or the drop, however you want to call it. I think if you would use something else than the kick drum being filtered, it would actually help give the section that comes after it more impact or more punch. Because now you're already introducing the kick again, and the kick is low pass, but you can hear if you have a pretty heavy kick and you low pass that, it kind of starts to sound a little distorted, and because of that, you're already bringing back the low frequencies and the heavy sound of the kick. So when the kick then comes in after this section, you've already introduced that sound. So you're losing energy right there. So I think use something else. Use some risers, or use some filter sweeps on some sounds, like some noise sounds or anything like that. Anything that is not drums, because when the climax part hits, that's where your drums are going to come back, and they're going to be playing for the rest of the track. So you don't necessarily have to use them in the breakdown, or in the build-up, however you want to call it. Yeah, I kind of think it takes away of the actual drop that comes after it. Dun, 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 dun. What are some good sample packs for Neurofunk DMB? I'm looking for drum sample loops in particular. Well, I've got a drum and bass sample pack on Black Octopus Sound called Artifacts Neurofunk Drums, and it has, what was it, 2,000 samples or something? It has a lot of samples. I spent about 2 or 3 months working on that sample pack, just making breaks, making percussion loops, making a shitload of snare drums and kick drums, and making a lot of individual just one-shot hits. That pack is available on Black Octopus Sound, so just go to the Black Octopus Sound website, and if you type in ArtFX in the search bar, it'll actually give you a search result list of all my sample packs and my preset packs that I sell on Black Octopus Sound. You can also find them on Loopmasters, on Splice, any of the bigger sample pack stores. They're going to be on there. But I mainly I release them through Black Octopus Sound, and then they make sure that they come on all the other web stores. So if you actually purchase anything from me, and you do that purchase through the Black Octopus Sound website, I'm gonna earn the most from it. Otherwise, I'm also gonna have to pay a little amount to the web store that is selling it, and so forth and so forth. So the more people within the, the more web shops being part of the whole thing, the less money I earn. So if you wanna buy something, I always advise you to do it on the Black Octopus Sound website, because that helps me out the most. Oh, you have the one from me. Okay, cool. June Miller has some cool packs. Yeah, that's true. He has some interesting packs. And you can never have enough snares. No, indeed. Never skip snare day. Always keep making snares. If you're a drum and bass producer, you should be working on snare drums a lot. I'm going to play this track one more time because the rain on my window is just making me fucking piss all the time. So I'm gonna take one final break, and then we're gonna do one more track, and that is the track by Zlap. So, Zlap, you're gonna be next. I'll be back in just a little bit. You're welcome, Sventura. Great seeing some new people here. I've never received a track from you before, so great to see some more people coming in here every now and then. And I'm always glad to listen to you guys' music and give you guys some more exposure because of this stream. I mean, you're getting a little bit of exposure from it. I mean, other people are listening to your track as well. And just, you know, listening to your tracks and just giving some feedback. Wherever I can help, you know, I'm glad to do that. So, Zlap is the next one. And I think this is going to be the last one for this stream. I'm really interested in this one, though, because I love the artwork. I really like those kind of things. So I can see that you have kind of like that theme going on. You've got, yeah, you're a big fan of those kind of artworks as well. I can see a lot of darker type stuff with skulls and, yeah, good stuff. So let's have a listen. Oh wait, let me bring the volume up. Wow, great track to end the stream with. Honestly, I think this track is good the way it is. There's only one thing I could think of, and I'm not even sure if it's a bad thing or not. I think it's a personal tasting, honestly. I think the only thing that I noticed when the drop hits is that the kick drum is very hard to hear. The kick drum feels like it's very much just in the background. It doesn't really come through the mix too well. But on the other side, though, I also kind of like it the way it is. So, like, normally I think with genres like this, especially with drum and bass, that kick needs to be heavy so that when that first drop hits, it just, you know, kicks you in the face, I guess. But this one is still doing that without a big kick. Yeah, like, that's the only thing I could think of, is having a kick drum that comes through the mix a little bit more, so that's a little bit more there. And you could even use that, you know, because this is a drop that... It kind of reminds me of Billion. Like, Billion does a lot of that stuff. Or what is he called? Billion? Villain? Billion, I think. Billion, right? But anyway, you know who I mean, probably. He does a lot of these kind of weird tracks as well. But when he does them, he usually has a pretty rolling kick drum vibe. He uses a lot of kicks in his tracks, but they usually still are... You can still hear them well in the mix, even though they are... His mixes and his tracks are just scattered with kicks all over the place. You can still hear them very clearly, and that is the only difference I could hear between your track and stuff from his, is that with your track, the snare, you can hear it clearly, but the kick drum, you really cannot. But it's not like it's really... Like it's really bothering me or something. I could still jam to this track. Like, it's a good track, and I would definitely try and get this released, but... You might want to try it out, though. Try it out, make a copy of your project file, and just try making a version with a slightly better kick, or a kick that comes through the mix a little bit better, but don't do it in the other project, in the original, because you might fuck it up. Make a duplicate of your project and try and do what I just said. Try and find a kick, or improve the kick that you have, and make it come through the mix a bit more, and then export both to audio, and just put them on your phone or something, or wherever you like to listen to music, and just listen to both tracks a couple of times and see which one you like more. Because honestly, I'm not sure if it would be a better result or a worse result. It would be something I would try out, but if it's going to be better, I don't know. I kind of like the track the way it is, so it's up to you. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. Oh, you don't know him? You don't know him? You should check him out, mate. You should check him out. Billin makes some fucking insane stuff. I'm not gonna play his stuff right now, but look him up. This is his name. Look him up. He makes... I'm pretty sure that you're gonna love the stuff that he makes. He has a very similar style, a very syncopated style with a lot of kick drums in it, a lot of, you know, he just uses a lot of syncopation between his drums, his percussion, and his bass sounds as well. He's pretty much a master at that stuff. So I just wished his mixdowns would sometimes be better. Sometimes I think his mixdowns can lack a little bit, and they're too distorted. They could be cleaner, but the way he does his drums and how he does all that kind of stuff is just so fucking good. So definitely look at him, because I'm pretty sure that you're gonna love what he makes. And let's see, I'm looking at the tracks. Bad Bots is a great track. Manifold is also good, the original though. Not sure about the Neon Light remix. I think I heard it before, but I'm not sure which one it was. So, but the Manifold original track is really good as well. And he has a lot. He's been putting out drum and bass and similar experimental music for a while, and I'm gonna say it's right up your alley. So, yeah, I think you might even get some more inspiration from it. You know, just listening to some of his music, because he does a lot of stuff that I think you could probably do as well. So, yeah, other than that, there's nothing else to say about this one, because it's just a really good track. And you know what? It's so good, in fact, that we're gonna end the stream listening to this one more time. So, all of you guys, if you wanna have a chat after the stream, I'm gonna be in the Discord server. I'll be going downstairs a little just to eat something real quick, and then I'll be in the Discord community to have a little chat if you want. You can see what I'm doing after the stream. Probably gonna be playing City Skylines for a bit, but yeah. Feel free to come join the Discord server. The invite link is below the stream. So just come join and have a chat about music production every single day, because that's what we do. And it's always fun to do. So it's always fun to meet new people. We have, I don't know how many members, actually. We have a lot. And we've been getting a lot of new people coming in. Hey, Kolux, I see you coming in the Discord server. Just let me know which doll that you use, and I'll set your user role for you. Let's see, how many members do we actually have? How many members do we have? We have 720 members in the Discord community already. Holy shit, it's going fast. Thanks a lot, though, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. Great to seeing you guys all joining up, because it's just great, you know, just connecting with other like-minded people and just having a chat about music every day, you know. And it can help a lot, you know, just talking to other people. So, Slop, I'm gonna reward you. We're gonna listen to it one more time, and then we're gonna end the stream.
Yeah, absolutely awesome track. So, Slop, thanks for your track, man. I really appreciate it. Did I add it to the playlist? Yeah, I did. Really loving this track. The next stream will be upcoming Friday. Next week, Friday at 8 p.m. Central European Time. That's when I do my streams. I think upcoming Friday we're gonna do some music production first, but I try to end my streams with a feedback session every single time. So if you wanna get some more feedback next week, then come join in the next stream and see me working on some music probably, and then doing some feedback after that. So it would be great to see you guys again next week. I might actually do a stream playing City Skylines at some point. I've really been liking that game recently, and because I had the rolled ankle right now, and I was not able to do much, and I was super uninspired for making music. I've been doing City Skylines all week pretty much, and some people in the Discord were actually requesting me to do a live stream of it someday. So if you guys want that, let me know, and we will do a let's play of City Skylines at some point. Other than that, though, this was a good stream. We had some really cool tracks and a pretty wide variety of genres. We've seen future-based trap, drum and bass, nerve funk stuff, hard house even. Like, we've seen quite a bit hip-hop. So it was a good stream. We had some good tracks, and really appreciate it. Now, all the people who donated, Spiralus and Medic, thanks again for your donations. It means a lot, and they will be used to make the YouTube channel and the live streams better, and to make more content or make better content. So thanks a lot. They all benefit to keeping this channel going. And yeah. Other than that, guys, I hope to see you guys again next week. If I do a stream somewhere in between on a random day, somewhere in the upcoming month, I'm gonna have a little bit more time to do a live stream probably. So I might be able to do 2 streams in 1 week. If that's gonna happen though, I'll let you guys know in the Discord server and on my Twitter. So if you wanna keep an eye on that, go to my Twitter, which is @artifactsdnb. Same for my YouTube, Twitch, SoundCloud, all of those, Facebook. They're all artifactsdnb. So the URL or the username is just that. So if you type in artifacts or artifactsdnb, that's how you can always find me. But on Twitter and the Discord server is where I normally leave any posts if I go do a live stream, or if I cannot do a live stream because of whatever reason might happen. And yeah, and if I decide to do like a live stream in between the regular streaming days, so that is every Friday, I will always let that know in my Discord server and on my Twitter. So keep an eye out on that, and I hope to see you guys again next week for another live stream. So get your tracks ready in the upcoming week, and next week we're gonna do some more feedback after we've probably made some music. So that was it for today. I'm gonna go grab something to eat, and then I'll go into the Discord server and have a little chat with all the new members, because there's been a lot of people coming in. So I'll see you guys again next week.